Hi everybody, it's Roy again with my community chat. Now, some of you would have remembered I did a really great sort of conversation with Anita. That came out the other day, and we managed to get her husband on. Now, if you don't know Drew, you should do. Drew is a famous, and I'm using that word, Drew, is a famous writer. Okay, and without further ado, sorry, no pun intended. Morning, Drew. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm gonna skip past that pun straight away. I think.
Sorry.
Less said about
I,
that, the better.
I couldn't help myself there. Sorry. So yeah, Drew. I mean, for all the viewers and listeners out there, explain who you are, what you do, and that amazing screen behind you. Look at that. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
mine's really boring.
well, I'm a science fiction and a fantasy author. That's what I
Wow.
do as kind of my my job. It's always been a hobby, right? I was ever since I was at school, I was always writing down stories. Just something that I really, really enjoyed doing. Always been doing it ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've had, if you like, proper jobs along the way. You have to, right? Writing doesn't always pay the bills, but fortunately, I've got to a stage in my life where I can give it a bit more time and effort now. And I've still got the same love of telling stories that I ever had, right? And I've got the opportunity now to write science fiction and fantasy stories. My backdrop is actually of of a world from one of my science fiction series. So,
Wow.
and
Cool.
producing a book today isn't just about writing, right? You've got to promote it, and you've got to have graphics, and you've got to have CGI, and you've got to have all sorts of other stuff going on. So it's quite an involved thing.
How have you? I mean, interesting what you say there about the whole exposure thing. I mean, again, viewers always have a chat with people before we sort of get on with the recording. And Drew and I are the same sort of generation, and we were talking. We didn't really grow up with the computers directly, not like sort of the children of today have got the benefit from, but promotion. And I think that's a really good sort of subject to talk about right now is promoting a business, promoting a product, getting something out there, getting the traction. We've done it with Evolution. I've done it with
Mm.
Write Bal as well. I feel your pain. How do you advertise your book? Tell me. I'm
Well,
intrigued.
yeah. Well, the first thing with a book is to think of it as a product, right? Many people think, well, you write a book, right? Okay, you just sit and you have your lovely cottage in the countryside. You sit out there looking at the window, and you just type away, and the words come onto the page, and eventually you just
Yeah.
hand that off to a publisher, and then you're rich, right? No, it's nothing like that at all.
Bonus done. I'm going. I've gone off. Right. Carry on.
Unfortunately, it's nothing. That is the dream. It's nothing like that whatsoever, right? So, writing, you've got all the classic problems of writing a book, right? You've got writer's block. You've got to get imagination right. You've got to write something decent. You need to know your grammar. You need to be able to tell a story.
Yeah.
All of those things have to work just to get the draft, right? Okay, and then you get nowadays it's a Word document or something online. Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives you a piece of text. And then what you've got to do is you've got to turn that, you've got to give it over to an editor who basically it's like the worst ever homework report you've ever seen, right? It's just covered in red ink saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And you've got to take that and you've got to turn it in, you've got to keep massaging it until it actually works. So writing a book is 50% is the fun bit of writing the story. And the other 50% of it is editing it and typesetting it and deciding on the graphics for the cover and then changing it again and then mucking about with it. So it's a long, tedious process.
Okay.
Just to get to the point where you've actually got something that you can actually call a book.
So once you've completed a book and the editor signed it off and you got an A+, how do you get it out there? What mediums do you use? How have you found the experience of trying to get your name out there in the world? What have you?
So it's a long, slow burn. It's like anything else. It's a publicity process. So what you have to do is you have to do what everything else has to do. You have to hype it.
Yeah.
So you have to you got to have a website, right? So if you find my website, drewwagar.com, it's a classic, here's my stuff, buy it kind of website, right?
Well, that's what you need. That's what we have.
And you have to have that, right? You have to have that. It's a business proposition. So you've got to take your book serious. You've got to start with a quality product. You've got to work on your book to make sure it's as good as it can possibly be. Then you need to have a really, really good cover, okay? So that's where you have to invest a lot of time in the graphics. So things like this, I'm using it to go and say, okay, what's all that about then? There's a star in the background. There's a science fiction planet. That looks interesting. What is it? it's got to be eye-catching, right?
To capture you, to grab your attention.
Exactly. High quality graphics, lots of CGI. That's all important nowadays, because the old cliche, you mustn't judge a book by its cover, right? It's not true. Everybody judges everything by the cover. Okay. So the cover has to be really good. It has to be eye-catching. It has to be, I want to pick that up and turn it over and read the thing on the back. Okay. Now the back blurb is the next thing. That's the next sales hook, right? So on the back of your book, and I've got one here, sorry, my green screen's getting a bit confused. Is a really catchy piece of text, which basically is the next bit. You read that. Well, that sounds like the sort of book maybe I'd like to read. Therefore, I'm going to pick it up, turn it around, and have a look inside. And then I want to see nice fonts, nicely laid out text that kind of grabs me straight away. And if all three of those work, you've got a chance of somebody buying your book.
Awesome.
Right? So you've got to go through that process to make sure every stage of that experience is really, really good.
So that's very similar, I suppose, to everyday business. I mean, let me take E11 as an example.
It is business. It is business. Yep.
It is, isn't it? So you've got to have a usable product, an eye-catching product, something that's going to give somebody pleasure, something that's going to grab people's attention, make them want to read it. But more importantly, I'm assuming, is stay with you to read the next one.
Yes, that's right. And so you've got to design your book. You've got to design your book. So, I mean, I've got a series, this particular one here. I'll show you some examples. There you go. There's another one. This Shadewood series is a 4-book series, right? Over the last sort of 6 to 10 years. But every book, not in a too cynical way, but every book has been designed that it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. So the idea is you've got to the end of the first book, you go, actually, I really enjoyed that. What happens next? Oh, I've got to get the next book. So you've got a chain of events that leads you on, and hopefully inspires future sales of your previous book. And if somebody comes across book 3, in there is enough information for them to be able to read it on its own potentially, but they go, hang on, I want to know what happened before this. So what happened in books 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So each product you set out from a business perspective also promotes all the other products you've got.
So again, it's interesting. I mean, I hear what you're saying with regards to the books and so forth, and you've got the paperback people. How have you found the conversion then? Again, coming back to what we were talking about, sort of the digital age, so to speak. I'm an avid Kindle reader, mainly because I can lie my head on the pillow, have the Kindle, I'll fall asleep, and it'll just be stuck to my face in the morning.
There we go. You can just about see. I'm a big fan. I've got one myself. Yep, they're really good. Yeah.
Are your books now on Kindle?
Yes, they are. Yep. So Amazon is about 90% of my sales channel.
Wow.
So Amazon is really good and really bad, right? Because there's a great exposure in terms of Amazon being the only venue to market, but it's got massive, I can press a button. In fact, I did literally last night press a button on another book, and instantly in 8 countries, my book becomes available just like that.
Wow, amazing.
So that's the power of the internet today in terms of being able to publish a book, is I can literally just press the button once I've got a book, right? I have to go and produce it. But once I've got all the files and I've got all the graphics and I've got all the blurb and I've got everything that I need to do to publish a book, I can literally just press a button on Amazon, and within 2 days my book is transmogrified around the entire world.
Wow, that is just, and I mean, let's look at just give I know people still buy books. I think it's fantastic. My kids love books. As I say, for me, when we go away on holiday, I've got the Kindle. I can take it away with me, upload it, but big man box. And you still pay for them, and that's fine. And as writers, you still get the benefit. Out of the books that you produced, percentage-wise, what are you talking digital as opposed to sort of the paper version?
Nowadays, 80% digital.
Crikey. So again, this is proving a point that I'm sort of trying to bang the drum on. You need to make whatever you're doing, it's got to be available to everybody in the world, and you're doing that with the Kindles, the electric version, whatever you want to call it. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing how incredibly powerful. Yep.
And it's amazing how many different things you don't realise. I mean, before chatting to you, I wouldn't have even considered kind of the connection between your book and me selling a house.
But it's still a business, right? You have to have a good quality product. You have to differentiate your product. You have to put your product in front of people so they can see it, and you have to then build up a reputation for doing good quality things. And that's business, right?
It's amazing, isn't it? And I think until you actually sit down and actually analyse it, it'll be the same with anything you're trying to promote. it's those three key things, isn't it?
It
Fantastic.
is.
That's amazing.
It's very, yeah. I mean, and the thing is, right, the biggest problem I have is that because the barrier to entry on Amazon is relatively low. Okay.
Right.
So in order to publish a book, what you need is a document in Word, you
Yeah.
need an image, and you need some text to basically describe what it is. And you can go and publish a book today if you've got those things, right? It'll take you a few hours. Now, the problem is because everybody can do it, everybody does it, which means that Amazon, unfortunately, gets full of dross. You know, and I have to say that as a really, really awesome author who's kind of blowing his own trumpet, right? But that is the problem. So what I've got to do in order to get people to, you know, hook into my books is demonstrate quality. And that's a hallmark for me, right? Is I've got to say, well, my covers have got to be as good as they can possibly go. My text has got to be as good as possibly can be. And then I've got to go into marketing.
Right.
And then and get people to be aware that my books are there, right? So that's all about a consistent brand image. So if you go to my website, you'll see Wagar.com styled in a certain way. Same with Twitter, same with Facebook, same with all the other social media things that I use, and even the little handouts I use. They all have consistent brands, consistent look and feel, all of those things.
To it.
Classic business things, right? So Drew Wagar, you know, it sounds a bit weird, but you know, my brand is me, right?
Yeah.
I represent my books and I am the brand. So that's the business aspect to selling a book.
And again, coming back to our products, I mean, Evolution has grown with the green. And again, I'm switching and I'm moving a lot across away, not away from advertising Evolution, because that's still important. People still see that, but it's getting people to understand who I am and talking to me and buying into me. And it's the same with yourself. Not going to take up too much of your time, Drew. I do apologise.
That's all right, no, fine.
Give me something else behind you. Go on, because you showed me this. Absolutely fantastic. Green screen, marvellous.
This is science fiction, obviously. So I've got other science fiction stuff. So I've written some sort of the science fiction background I've got there at the moment is a sort of speculative post-apocalyptic type scenario. So actually in this scenario, the Earth has become uninhabitable and we've had to go to other star systems to survive as humanity, right? So that's what that story is about. I've done some more kind of classic sci-fi in the sense of
like that.
So we've got you know spaceships shooting each other and classic sort of space
going through the
asteroids. You like Star Wars, Star Trek sort of stuff, then I've got some
definitely
in the bag as well. I've also written some fantasy stuff. So this is an image that I've used for a fantasy series, which is kind of Lords of the Ringsy, The Hobbit, that sort of thing. So you know you've got an ultimate evil that's kind of conquered the land, and a plucky bunch of heroes are going off to defeat it. You know, it's that sort of stuff. So those are the stories I like to write. And my if I was to describe my books, they are character-based stories. So there's got lots of characters in them that you're either going to love or hate, or sometimes love to hate, right? You know, I really like that bad guy.
A bit like an estate agent, really, I suppose.
Yeah. But hopefully people you can relate to. So it's not like, you know, you're going to have people who you think, oh yeah, I like them, but they make why do they make stupid decisions like that?
Yeah.
You kind of get alongside them. They're people you can relate to. So my books are always full of characters like that. Lots of character-driven stories. Lots of adventure, lots of drama, lots of arguments. You know, sort of, people kind of mixing it up and all that kind of good stuff. That's what my story's about. What I don't do is I deliberately don't write my stories in such a way that they're hard to read. So you don't get flashbacks and multiple viewpoints and, you know, things that challenge you to
in the actual person view rather than flicking around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is, you know, you pick up one of my books, you start at the beginning, you'll read it all the way through, and you'll be going, oh yes, next chapter. Oh, I got to the end of the book, and it's an easy read.
Kind of draw you into it nicely.
Exactly. So I'm trying to keep the barriers. There's another business term: barriers to entry low. Right? You don't need to be a literary master to read one of my books, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. And the plot can be twisty and complicated and unexpected, and gasp out loud moments and drama and all that kind of good stuff. That's
well. I have to say, I am just coming up to the end of. I'm a bit of a John Grisham fan. Coming up to the end of one of his books, so I actually am going to jump on yours. So. Just for the viewers out there, I'll put in the comments box how you get access to Drew's stuff. I think it's well worth it. Absolutely amazing. We're going to pinnacle you to the top of the book charts.
Fantastic. I appreciate that.
You give John Grisham a run for his money, somebody like that, you know. But no, it's been fascinating talking to you, and I think it's interesting when I think a lot of what I'm trying to look at is sort of local sort of small business owners, that kind of thing. We're all in this together. We're all doing the same thing, really, aren't we? As you say, it's creating that product, making it viable, making it work, making people remember you, and making people attract to it.
Yeah, that's right. And do a great job. Differentiate yourself from everybody else out there, so you can pick up.
Make it personal.
And diversify. So, I mean, you talk about books, right? I don't think in terms of just books. I think in terms of the book is the first thing, right? Then I've got the ebook, which is a slightly different proposition. Putting things on Kindle to a paperback, two different products, right? But then what I do is I take that and I turn it into an Audible book, because there's people out there who
I've heard of it. I've never had one, but I've heard of them.
Yeah, so there's lots of people who say, I love stories, but I'm commuting, I'm in the car, right? I haven't got time to read a book, but I'll listen to one when I'm on a flight. Well, when we fly again, right? But or when I'm commuting in the car, or I'm on the train journey, or just I'm hard of sight, so I can't read easily. It's too painful for me as I get older. All of those things are targeted at an Audible book, right? And then if you want to, you can move into dramatization, and if you get really lucky, which is ultimate plan, is maybe somebody will turn it into a TV series, right? So all of those things are possibilities which you can use. So
all spins
just
off.
Writing the book is the beginning of a product set. So for every book I write, I've got at least 3 products I can sell.
That's brilliant. Flexible, diversifying.
That's it. It's all about and meeting different people. You see, the demographics are that most of people of our generation, older, tend to like a paperback, right?
Yeah.
Younger people give me digital.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And lots of people are consuming my books on their mobile phones, which to me is a ghastly way to read a book, but that's how they want to do it. Right?
That's how they do it. And I think it's because it's easy access, isn't it? People can reach it there and then, wherever they are, because not being funny, if you're going to go somewhere and you sat around, I mean, I've done it before. Don't tell Sharon I've said this, but if we've been out shopping or whatever, my phone's connected to my Kindle so I can get an update. And if I'm bored, I'll stand there and...
Yep. If you've got 5 minutes, you can flip out a book and there you go.
Yeah, it's there and it's easy access, isn't it, for the world? So, well, Drew, it's been a real pleasure having you on the community chat today. Thank you so much. Quite insightful as well, as I say, going back to that whole, there is that kind of synergy between everybody's business in a way when you look at the basics of it. So hopefully some of the local business owners can take that on board. Maybe kind of refocus, not just coming away from what they do, but look at how they're offering their products. I think that's the key thing. So,
yeah, I think particularly now the biggest lesson is diversification, right? Make sure you've got multiple ways, or if you've got a product, can you adapt it to a digital delivery model? It's easier for some. For me, it's easier. For you, it's more tricky. But all of those things are important right now, right?
Definitely, without a doubt. Well, listen, thank you very much, Drew. Guys, as I say, I'll put the contact details so you can get hold of Drew's book and jump on his website, etc. That'll be in the write-up. I'll see you out and about. I do see you sort of walking Lizzie's dog with Anita, and always say hello and wave. But and one of your little passions, just a quick short one. We probably should have spent a bit more time on this, but your passion out the front of your house, your Golfs. Your VWs, I love it.
Well, we like old cars, right? My son and I are restoring well, I mean, some people our age probably don't think of it as a classic, but it very much is now. It's a classic Golf GTI from the 80s. So
brilliant,
proper old school stuff, but great fun. Yep.
Well, I'm hoping. I know Daniel, who runs the Hazard meets.
Oh yeah. He's a good guy.
Bizarrely, we worked together many years ago. So I'm going to hopefully message him today and see if we can get him on, have a chat, talk about sort of cars.
Oh, fantastic! That'd be really good.
Yeah, it'd be great fun. But
well, do give my regards. I've spoken to him a couple of times on Facebook. So
of course I will. Yeah, of course I will. I mean, I'm going back 25, 26 years, give or take something like that. So yeah, quite a while ago. But listen, Drew, you stay safe. Love to the family.
Will do.
All right.
Yep. And to you guys as well. Thank you very much for doing this.
All right, my pleasure. Well, listen. Again, don't forget, guys, I'll put the comments up. Jump on Drew's website, have a look at his book, download it from Amazon or order it paperback, delivered, whatever's your preference, really. But again, thanks ever so much indeed, Drew. Yeah, all right, take care. Cheers.
Take care now. All right. All the
best.
Bye-bye.